All right, Commissioner, go ahead.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Housing Opportunity Commission's monthly meeting on July the 7th, 2021. I'm Roy Priest. I am the chair of the commission. I'd like to introduce to you all first the other fellow commissioners. Fran Kelleher, vice chair, Vic Nelson, chair pro tem, Linda Coombs, Jeffrey Merkowitz, and Commissioner Jackie Simon. We are still waiting for Commissioner Byrd to join.
I have joined, Commissioner Priest.
Oh, Commissioner Byrd. So all of our commissioners are present today. I want to thank all of you all for joining us. This is, if you notice, the order of agenda is a little different than normally because we're going to start first with the consent approval of the scholarship recipients for this year. We are fortunate enough that we have approval of the Tony Davis Memorial Scholarship recipients. I think we have 11 of those. So the first item is to approve the consent resolution for us to proceed to the next portion of the agenda. So can I get a motion to approve resolution 21-66?
So moved.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Very good. We will, the motion carries unanimously. We will now proceed to the information exchange portion of our agenda. And we will start with the Tony Davis Scholarship Award recipients. Now, we did not go into a lot of details on the consent item because we knew we were going to be meeting all the recipients. We got a number of applications for the scholarships this year, and we are going to be awarding 11 scholarships. This is always a great point of our work that we do as commissioners, when we acknowledge the young people who've done such amazing things in terms of scholarship and community activities and extracurricular activities at school. And so we also have the honor of having Jackie Simon, our former chair of the commission, who has always guarded the presentation of the scholarships for herself. So in order to maintain that tradition, I'm going to introduce to you Jackie Simon, a commissioner who will conduct the scholarship award portion of this community exchange. Ms. Simon, Commissioner Simon?
Yes.
I didn't know it was like that.
We cannot see you, Commissioner Simon.
I'm sorry.
There you go.
There. Well, I want to welcome each of you as our scholarship winners. This is a special time. I knew Tony Davis. He was a staff person of HOC and was employed at the Seneca Ridge community. And this was established in his honor. He was a devoted employee, but he went way beyond. He volunteered and coached and counseled individuals and youth at Seneca Ridge, and he was tragically killed in 2000 while defending the community. Over the last 20 years, HOC has supported more than 40 college-bound students. And we are happy to hopefully start you on what you are to become and that path. This year, we're awarding 11 scholarships to some impressive students, not only because you've excelled academically, but because you've persevered while giving back to your communities. And each of you have accomplished and overcome significant challenges along the way. Our first scholarship winner is Yvette Cook. Yvette is a graduate of Paint Branch in Burtonsville, and her counselor described her as one of the grittiest, yes, most gentle scholars he's had the opportunity to work with, noting the significant responsibility and example you've been tasked with setting for 7 younger siblings. Excuse me. Armed with a driving passion and deep commitment to your music, She is going to attend Radford University in the fall. Yvette, have you remarks that you would like to make?
Hi. So I actually will be attending Barry University in the fall.
Ah, okay.
And I remember a time where I questioned where I would be next month, a time where I didn't have a place to call home. Just as a young child whose only worry should have been about winning the spelling bee tomorrow, I was worried about so much more. With HOC, those were no longer questions I had to worry about. I had a place to call home, a place to be a kid, a place to be silly, a place to do my homework, and a place to study. Although you don't have the most quiet study space with 7 other siblings, I was able to have a quiet mind that made it easier to take in and enjoy a book I was reading, understand an assignment, or listen and participate in class. With that being said, from every A+ paper to every honor roll I achieved, I'd like to give credit and a big thanks to HOC. I would also like to end by honoring former HOC staff member Tony Davis, who continues to have a positive impact on our lives today. And I'd like to give a big thanks to HOC Commission and staff for making this all possible.
Thank you. And congratulations. Our next scholarship winner is Clore Sims. Clore is a 2021 graduate of John F. Kennedy High School in Silver Spring. Over the last 5 years, Clore has been an active volunteer with the HOC Academy STEM program. And according to her resident counselor, Erica Connor, she exemplifies leadership, intelligence, compassion, and humility. She will confidently, perhaps even in her Superman pose, stride the halls of the University of Maryland this fall. Clore, would you like to make some comments?
Yes, and correction, it is pronounced Kaylor, but can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Ladies, gentlemen, and fellow scholarship recipients, good afternoon. It is a great pleasure to be here today. I hope everyone and their loved ones are doing well during this unprecedented time. My name is Kaylor Sims, and I am a proud recipient of the 2021 Tony Davis Scholarship. I would like to take this opportunity to graciously thank a few individuals who have made this opportunity possible. I want to say thank you to Ms. Bonnie Hodge for informing me about this incredible scholarship opportunity. I want to thank Ms. Erica Connor for providing me with the necessary resources, motivation, and guidance I needed to apply for the scholarship. I want to thank my mom, Sherelle King, for her continuous support and encouragement. These incredible women have been my #1 support system since I migrated from Jamaica to the United States in 2013. Their dedication and support of my success does not go unnoticed. Also, I want to say thank you to the Tony Davis Scholarship Committee for this scholarship award. Thanks to your generous reward, I can contribute to my education at the University of Maryland, where I'll be studying biochemistry in the upcoming fall. I am confident that the knowledge I acquire at the University of Maryland will aid me in pursuing a career as a pediatrician and pediatric researcher in the United States Air Force in the future. Most importantly, I give thanks to God for the incredible people and opportunities like these He places in my life to help me fulfill my purpose in this world. Thank you all for your time and have a fantastic day.
Clore, you're well on your way. Our next winner is Deshaun Ijawu. Deshaun is the winner and graduate of Walt Whitman High School, an avid quiz bowl and biology Olympiad competitor and a former NIH intern. Deshaun will continue to explore the love of science and perhaps food while attending Harvard College this fall. Deshaun, what have you to say?
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, brilliant. I want to start off by thanking the HOC Commission, Executive Director, Mr. Spencer, and all of the HOC staff. After many years of working hard, it's nice to see that people recognize my efforts. If there's anything that stuck out to me the most from this, it's that one step, one hand, one piece of advice, any way a person can help another can snowball into something greater. This is especially why I'm grateful to HOC. I know that I have a successful future because I was placed in an area where I could be challenged and could grow. Of course, I can't forget my friends, family, and mentors who helped me along this path. They've been my safe haven and my bastion. They shaped me into the person that I am today. I wouldn't have found the music that I was listening to while writing this speech if it were not for them. I wouldn't have applied for the scholarship if they had not have had such an instrumental role in my life. Their support is and always will be a fundamental part of who I am. Once again, thank you for the scholarship. And I know I speak for all of the other recipients when I say that this means a lot and that this will go a long way.
Well, we congratulate you and your family and know you will enjoy much success. Our next recipient is John Dowell. John is a 2021 graduate of Sherwood High School in Sandy Spring. Overcoming the odds when many told him and his family he might not ever make it to college, John will proudly attend Hood College in the fall. John, we invite you to respond.
Yep. Testing. All right. It's working?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, as you know, my name is John Dowell. Well, first, I'd like to thank the HOC community for making this opportunity for the scholarship possible. Well, also the staff, but you know. I'd also like to thank my dad, who is right next to me, for helping me look for scholarship opportunities like the Tony S. Davis Scholarship. My Nana, who is not with me at this moment, for helping me get this together and proofreading it for me. Then my mom, most importantly, last but not least, my mom for helping me get in this far in education. Next, finish high school and get accepted into college. So yeah, I appreciate for your time.
Well, we applaud you for your effort and we congratulate you and your family. Next, I'd like to introduce Elia Brunson. She is a 2021 graduate of Seneca Valley High School in Germantown. Her college readiness coach said it was a privilege to see just how impassioned she has become towards changing her future. Elia will take her impressive personal drive with her to Towson University this fall. Elia?
Oh, it's actually Elia.
I'm sorry.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, it's actually Elia. Okay. My name is Elia Brunson, and it's a pleasure to be in front of you all today. I would like to commemorate my fellow 2021 Tony Davis Scholarship Award winners and to extend my love to the Housing Opportunities Commission of Montgomery County for selecting me as a Tony Davis Scholarship Award recipient. This scholarship will be very useful for me as I further my education at Towson University in the coming weeks. At Towson, I will be majoring in business administration that will eventually lead into marketing and potentially minoring in entrepreneurship. Though at times school can be troubling and somewhat of a pest for myself and others, I've come to realize that within my life, it's almost seen as a supportive foundation when things seem to be falling apart. For example, when I was evicted from my home 2 years ago, it could have easily been an experience that deterred most people from wanting to continue in school. But thankfully, for me, it didn't. I used this experience to strive to do more in my community and to uncover new objectives and aims I want for my future, such as going to college to not only better myself, but to accomplish things my parents couldn't at my age. Once again, I would like to congratulate my fellow recipients and thank you all for listening.
Well, we know you will do well, and we congratulate you for your efforts that have brought you this far on your journey. Next scholarship winner is Mariam King. She is a 2021 graduate of Paint Branch High School in Burtonsville, citing her mother as her hero, who gave her the puzzle pieces to make it to this point. This brave, strong spirit wants to go to college to learn how to help those who can't help themselves. She will be attending Georgia State University in the fall. Unfortunately, her job prevents her from being with us this afternoon, but we offer our congratulations to both she and her family. The next scholarship is awarded to Asia Nunchurch. Asia is a 2021 graduate of John F. Kennedy High School in Silver Spring, where her chemistry instructor described her as motivated, compassionate, and within an incomparable work ethic. Crediting her educational success to the women in her life, her mother, her sister, and friends, Asia will be attending Cornell this fall. Unfortunately, she also was prevented from being with us this evening, but our congratulations go to them. Our next winner is Xavier Sims. He's a 2021 graduate of Seneca Valley High School in Germantown, and his trainer described him as one of the best athletes he's ever trained, citing his dedication to the craft, great sportsmanship, and eagerness to learn. He has spent countless hours volunteering in the community, including food drives for the homeless in the county, and he will be taking that dedication and effort with him to McDaniel College in the fall. Xavier, would you like to respond?
Yes, ma'am. Hello, everyone. My name is Xavier Sims. I would like to thank the HOC Association for this award opportunity. I know that it was a very hard decision to make. I know there were many qualified candidates, and I'm thankful to be selected as a recipient. I would also like to thank my mother at this time. Raising two boys is a tough job, and she made it look easy. I was raised in a single-family household, and although things were tough, my mother always made sure to instill resilience in me. She poured into me over the years and assured me that I could do anything I set my mind to. For the past few years, I've set my mind on going to college and playing football, and these two dreams are coming into reality. I have committed to McDaniel College, and I am excited to start my journey there this fall. I am overjoyed, humbled, but more than anything, grateful. I can't say thank you enough. HOC has played a part of making my dream come true. And with this award, I can now better pay for my tuition and other expenses for this upcoming term.
Well, congratulations to you. We know you will have great success. Next, I'd like to introduce Deanna Wright. Deanna is a 2021 graduate of Seneca Valley High School in Germantown as well. With an analytical mind and commitment to her community, Deanna hopes to become the first African-American female doctor to find preventions and perhaps even a cure for sickle cell disease. Deanna will bring her medical aspirations to West Virginia University in the fall. Deanna?
Hi.
Hi.
Firstly, I just want to express my sincere gratitude and a generous thank you for being awarded the Tony Davis Scholarship. I was extremely excited when I read the email come across my screen, and I also want to give a thanks to my mom. As I begin my college career at West Virginia University this August, I plan to use the scholarship for tuition to help me further my studies in psychology and biology. Receiving this scholarship only further motivates me to work my absolute hardest. Once again, thank you for your thoughtful gift, support, and willingness to help me achieve future success.
Thank you. Next, we have Lorraine Mivette. Lorraine is a 2021 graduate of Thomas Wooten High School in Rockville, a leader in the Black Student Union with a passion for communications. She will be attending Syracuse University in the fall. Lorraine?
Hi. Wow.
Hi.
I'm real. Yeah. It's Lauren. Yeah.
Lauren.
Yeah. Wow. I'm really blessed. I'm excited to announce that I will be attending Syracuse University as a business major. I first want to thank HOC. Not only have they allowed me to live in a safe neighborhood, go to one of the top public schools in Maryland, but they also allowed me to live in an area with such successful individuals. HOC has also provided me with a scholarship, which I will be using to pay for my college tuition. I generally don't know what I would do without HOC's help. I also want to give a shout out to my parents. They have supported me throughout this whole process. And having parents that are 100% by your side means the world. I also want to thank myself because I tend not to do that often. I tend not to give myself enough credit, but I am truly proud of myself. And I'm so honored to receive this reward and excited to start a new journey.
Thank you. Our next and final scholarship winner is Nadja Alfaro. Nadja is a 2021 graduate of Clarksburg High School in Clarksburg. According to one recommender, her name, which literally means success, perfectly embodies her ability to overcome in incredible adversity. A smart, introspective young adult, she will be attending George Mason University in the fall. Nadja?
Hi, I just want to start by saying good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for having me here. My name is Nadja Alfaro, and I'm overwhelmed with joy to be able to receive this award and tell you about my plans for college. I'll be attending George Mason University, and for my second semester, I'll be studying abroad in Ecuador. And I just want to thank you guys so much for helping me throughout this journey, and I just want to give a great glory to God, because without him, I don't know how I'd get through all the trials and tribulations throughout my life. And I'm so proud to be able to be the first child that my mom and my grandparents have to go to college.
Well, we congratulate you and recognize all of you for your efforts in starting this journey. You chose a path, and you have each diligently exerted yourself and distinguished yourself by achieving these goals. And now this goal is to set another one for yourselves and pursue that path as well. It's not where you start, it's where you end up. And we congratulate each of you and wish you well. Thank you. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Simon, and thank all the scholarship recipients. You know, it's amazing to see the accomplishments that you all have earned in your academic year so far. And we know you can count on great things from you all in the future. And as summer approaches, I think that HOC has a summer intern program. So make sure you knock on our door again if you're looking for some summer employment opportunities. And so again, we wish you great success. Thank you all very much for your outstanding words. And, you know, it's really powerful to hear young people who have been able to achieve what you all have. So I just want to acknowledge that and tell you how much we appreciate you and the things that you have been able to accomplish. Thank you all very much. With that, I will move the agenda, and you all don't have to stay through the rest of this meeting. So thank you all very much. The next portion of our agenda is our community forum. We have those persons who have already registered as required by our procedures to participate in our community forum today. And I will now turn this over to the staff for presenting those who will be making presentations during this portion of the agenda. Hello?
Nico, do we have our first speaker?
Yeah, hello.
Hello?
Yes, yes, Ms. Lundgren, you want to introduce Ms. Lundgren?
Yes, yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, fine.
Yes.
Okay, good day, commissioners. I am testifying before you here today as to the following. Now that Stacy Spann is leaving HOC at the end of this month, we urge you commissioners to please do your due diligence as to hiring the next HOC executive director, as we do not want a repeat of another very corrupt Stacy Spann. The entire HOC corporation needs to be totally revamped from the inside out, and this includes taking a much closer look at the operations under the direction of Lynn Hayes as Director of Resident Services and Renee Harris as the Director who oversees terminations, the hearings, inspections, voucher issuances, etc. at that 231 Easter Park Road, Gaithersburg, Maryland location. I also raise this fact that I have also sent you all in the HOC history, HOC, formerly Housing Authority of Montgomery County, on second page timeline, wherein it specifically states in 1968 that HAMC separates from county government. I would like to know why Asha Memon got the county attorneys to represent HOC in my pending legal matter, as the county attorneys are only supposed to represent county government agencies, and HOC, as it has been proven, is clearly not a county government agency. Asha Memon is also stonewalling me as to requesting written confirmation as to who is specifically accessing my medical records and a specific procedure as to how these records in physical location at the main HOC office there are then specifically transported to digital file at HOC satellite office at the Easter Park Road location, as there have been Wi-Fi outages and HOC blatantly violated numerous laws as to me and what my attorney had to go through to even secure an RA, including the submission of completely unnecessary records, hospital records, which are never needed. Asha Memon is also stating that I now have to file a public information request to access them, thereby intentionally imposing difficulty on me. I, as a client whose records these are, have every legal right to know this information. Commissioners, it is time that all these illegalities that numerous HOC high-ranking employees have been imposing on voucher recipients, employees, both current and former, as well as concerned citizens coming to speak out at these commission meetings, are given rightful resolution, accountability, and justice. There is a reason why so many people come to these commission meetings completely reactive, as we are all totally exhausted and fed up by the horrific and unfair treatment by Stacey Stan and on down the line. You cannot treat people that way. I will be following up with you as well. Thank you for allowing me to speak today, commissioners. Thank you.
Thank you for the time again. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks,
Our
Commissioner
next
Priest.
speaker- Our next speaker. Could someone indicate who the speaker is going to be?
This is going to be Marsha Coleman Adebayo.
Is that about? Are you on?
Yes, I'm here. Thank you.
Could someone indicate who the speaker is going to be?
My name is Dr. Marsha Coleman Adebayo.
This is going to be Marsha Coleman Adebayo. I'm sorry, Miss Adebayo, if you could, or Miss Coleman Adebayo, if you could please mute the YouTube stream.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. My name is Dr. Marsha Coleman Adebayo.
I'm sorry, Miss Adebayo, if you could, or Miss Coleman Adebayo, if you could please mute the YouTube stream.
Yes, I'm here. Thank you. Sure. You want me to? Okay. Is that better? Hi, is that better now?
Yes. Would you?
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Commissioners, my name is Dr. Marsha Coleman Adebayo. At the end of one's life, one hopes that your family will remember you as a loving father, mother, or friend. But I can assure you that if the cell of Moses Cemetery is finalized, you will have one title: human trafficker. There's no lower being on the planet than someone who traffics in human flesh, dead or alive. That will be your legacy. HOC is engaged in an act reminiscent of the slavery that took place on River Road of selling Black bodies to the highest bidder, in this case, Charger Ventures. The Black bodies you're selling are dead Black bodies, defenseless, vulnerable. These dead Black bodies were bartered off at your special session. What is clear is that you'd rather traffic dead Black bodies than talk with the descendants of those disgracefully buried under your parking lot. This is an act that slave owners would have thought reprehensible and repugnant. Can you smell yourselves? Because civilized society will be telling you in the coming weeks that, like your human trafficker counterparts, your odor is foul. To paraphrase Frederick Douglass's 4th of July speech, the selling of Black bodies in Moses should disgrace a nation of savages. If this sale is executed, it has greater national and global implications. The Black world will be on notice. Black people and their ancestors are back on the auction block. Even during so-called slavery, husbands were sometimes allowed to buy their family. But HOC did not even treat our community with the minimum regard of a slave owner. We received no notice. Month after month, you told the community that HOC had no plans for Moses Cemetery, quote, in the foreseeable future. You also said that you would not transfer or do anything with the land until there was a delineation. Another lie. In fact, what differentiates you from other tyrants is that they didn't lie. Hitler, George Wallace, they were clear. They hated Jewish or Black people, and they were clear about it. You, on the other hand, did not have the spine to be honest. Mr. Priest, when you were telling my husband that you considered yourself a descendant of those buried in Moses, would you want your mother or father sold to Charger Ventures? We call upon, in addition, we call upon the Department of Justice to initiate an investigation into whether Mr. Spann used his HOC position to throw contracts to his future employer in exchange for his CEO position. In conclusion, from top to bottom,
Commissioner, our next speaker is Reverend Segun Adebayo.
Hello?
Reverend Adebayo, do we have you?
Yes. Okay, yeah, I'm here.
Your time begins now. Yes, your time begins now.
Chairman Priest and the Commission, I'm Reverend Segun Adebayo, the pastor of the Macedonia Baptist Church. Let me say we are dismayed. Yes. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Reverend Adebayo, you need to mute the YouTube stream in the background on your computer or on your device so that it doesn't echo
okay.
on the phone. Yes, and then I'll restart the time.
Okay, I'm starting again. Can you hear me?
Okay, yes, we're ready. I'll start your time.
Okay, Chairman Priest and the Commission, I'm Reverend Segun Adebayo. I'm the pastor of the Macedonia Baptist Church. Let me say we are, dismayed and offended by the decision to sell your Westwood Tower property and auction our ancestors' bodies and the resting place of these ancestors to inglorious bidders. The process has been opaque and shrouded from the community and absent the decency and the humaneness of even alerting the church and the descendant community. It is troubling and invites suspicion that the sale was proposed and initiated by the executive director days before his separation from HOC. Nothing that I heard in the special commission meeting of last Friday, required, this urgent sale of this property at this time. It is clear to me that HOC, rather than doing the right thing cowardly, abdicated its responsibility for the Moses Cemetery that it knowingly acquired from Regency Centers a few years ago. Nothing in the staff analysis and its recommendations suggests that a discussion of the future of Moses Macedonia Cemetery had occurred in the engagement with these opaque bidders. We believe the decision is capricious and should be immediately reversed. While HOC may have the right to dispose of its property, HOC certainly does not have the right to sell our ancestors to a bidder, without the consent of the descendant community. We are viscerally opposed to this sale. The process is immoral and reminiscent of slavery era trading of Black bodies. Our ancestors were denied their humanity and subjected to cruel and ungodly atrocities in life. Your recent action is both traumatic and saddening and an insult to their humanity. I'm therefore appealing to your humanity and to your conscience to reverse your decision, engage the church and the descendant community to chart appropriate recognition of the life of these human beings that were stripped of their humanity and deprived of their dreams. I hope history and your conscience will speak well of your action. I pray that God will guide you to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner, the next speaker is David Mott. Is Mr. Mott on mute?
I'm here.
Thank you, Mr. Mott. Your time will begin now.
Yeah, hi. I wanted to, I'm David Mott here. I live in Aspen Hill. I volunteer some time with the Bethesda African Cemetery Coalition, and I'm also a leader of the Montgomery County region of the Maryland Poor People's Campaign. I really have just a couple of questions which I'd like to ask and get some answers to. And it's regarding the sale. I think it's called the Westwood Tower. Is that correct? Is that correct? I'll take it as being correct. I'd like to know, with regard to that sale, how many public hearings were held where people were invited to come and ask questions and learn about that sale during the process? Can someone please tell me that, answer that question for me? Hello?
Mr. Mott, this is not a question and answer session. This is an opportunity.
Well, I'd like to have an answer
folks in
from
the
this
community
public body. And I don't know why I
provide
can't, I don't
testimony.
know why I can't get an answer. I'm here to ask some questions. I have some questions, and you should be able to answer them for me. I don't know why that's a big deal. Can I please get an answer? Can I get an answer?
Mr. Morris, you would proceed to ask your questions. I will see that you get a response to them after this meeting. Would you please go ahead and proceed?
Yeah, so that was the first question. How many public hearings were held that allowed the public insight to ask questions and learn about this, where they were, what the time where they were, etc. I'd like to know whether the Bethesda African Cemetery Coalition was ever consulted as a part of this process, whether they brought into the process formally, as they have for years made it very clear that they are stakeholders with the cemetery being under the parking lot of this tower. So I'd like an answer to that. And I'd like to know how much money the HOC has received from the county over the last couple of years, 10 years or so. And I'd like to know how much, if any, of that money has gone to the towers, to the operation of the towers in any way. So those are my three questions, and I would like to have an answer to them. If someone would like to email me the answers, you can email me the answers at dmottunion@gmail.com. That's it for me. Will you
repeat the email address?
Yes. It's dmottunion@gmail.com.
Thank you very much for your question, sir.
Yeah, you got it. Bye.
Commissioner, the next speaker is Rian Adamian.
Rian, you are on mute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Your time begins now.
Okay. Thank you to the commission for the opportunity to let me speak. My name is Rena Damian, and I have lived in Montgomery County for most of my life. And I'm a taxpayer whose money funds HOCs and the county's activities. I'm also a member of the Bethesda African Cemetery Coalition. I'm speaking today to demand that HOC stop the sale of Westwood Towers in the deal's current condition, because it is built on top of Moses Macedonia African Cemetery, and the sale also includes a large portion of Moses, which lies tragically underneath your parking lot. I'm also demanding that parcel 175 be ceded by HOC, the Macedonia Baptist Church, who were and remain the stewards of Moses Macedonia African Cemetery and the memory of those buried there. Black River Road community lived for generations along River Road, where HOC's parking lot and Westwood Towers is now, and they had their land stolen from them by the county and by white supremacist vigilante groups like the KKK. And today there is a parking lot over and towers that HOC profits off of, where our community's ancestors are buried. And it is unacceptable that HOC, with the permission of Montgomery County, is putting our community's ancestors on the auction block. So I, like David Mott, have questions about what gives HOC the right to continue to own Moses Macedonia African Cemetery and exclude the Macedonia Baptist Church community, as well as the descendants of Moses, from any decisions made at all about what is done with their families and their ancestors' bodies. This is just such utter dehumanization and lack of consideration for Black life and what those people buried in Moses did for this county, which was build this county up and to care and nurture their future generations of their family. And now they are demanding that they are being excluded from all these decisions that you are making unilaterally and likely illegally without their consent or any input from them. So I also demand an answer as to what gives you the right to do that.
Thank you. Your time has expired.
Why has there been no input or
Our next speaker is Tim Willard.
Tim, you are on mute.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Willard. Your time begins now.
Okay. Hi, my name is Tim Willard, and I'm speaking with the African American Cemetery Coalition. I would like to object to the sale of Westwood Towers, including the property listed as Moses African Cemetery. This is yet another desecration of those often unknown ancestors. It seems that the selling of Black bodies continues to this day. The entire Westwood Tower property was built over one of the most historic African American communities in Montgomery County, dating back to at least to 1808. Captive Africans worked these lands for decades and were buried in the unproductive lands now in contention on, on River Road. The 1910 cemetery, Moses Macedonia African Cemetery, is only the most prominent feature of this community since only it has been documented in county records. The desecration of Moses Cemetery is obvious, but the suffering of the captive Africans and the struggle of freed blacks are hidden from history. We believe that this is sacred land, and that the only way to make the descendants community whole is to uncover this rich history, to memorialize Moses Cemetery, as well as the more ancient graveyards of the community, and to rescue the land from those commercial interests who, as always, turn black bodies into commodities to be bought and sold for the profit of white commercial interests. I ask you to reconsider this sale. Thank you.
Commissioner, I'd like to note that that is our last speaker for the community forum. We did have a Martha Peterson who was registered to speak. However, she did not call into the meeting.
Thank you very much. This concludes the community forum portion of the agenda. I want to thank all of those for taking the time to participate in this and to bring this matter to our focus. Thank you very much. We will now proceed with the next portion of the agenda, which is in fact the report of the executive director.
Wow. Okay. Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon, commissioners and team, also listening public. So this is my my final executive director's report at one of these meetings, and I want to take a quick moment to highlight the Tony Davis Memorial Scholarship awardees and their hard work to this point. If there's any indication of why we're in this business and why it's so important to meet mission, those 11 young people are absolutely it. Their families, the community that lifts them up, both academically and otherwise. That's it. That's the reason. And it is also probably the most incredible opportunity to highlight the work that I've gotten to do with this staff and this board of commissioners, with the county itself. It makes every single difficult conversation, every bit of name calling worth it. And it is, while it is a bittersweet departure, this agency will endure. It has for many years. It will for many, many years to come. And I want to offer my greatest thanks for the opportunity to be a part of this team, to be a part of this community, to help re-engineer, reshape, reinvigorate the way we house folks and serve them and support them as they look to this agency and other housers and other social service providers for support. This is an incredibly unique county, and this organization is unique among organizations in these United States and across the world. It has been my highest privilege and honor to be a part of this. And, I'll miss everyone here. And so with that, I'm going to cede my time to you all as commissioners so that you can make your remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Stan. Let me say there will be certainly an opportunity for accolades and others to be shared for the services you have provided to HOC over the past 9 years. And I certainly want to acknowledge and thank you for your service, for all the really tremendous groundbreaking work that's been done around expanding affordable housing opportunities in Montgomery County for so many residents. I think that the time that you've spent as the executive director in terms of the actual construction and development and planning for new affordable housing probably exceeds what happened the previous 50 years. So we made a quantum leap through the work and guidance and inspiration that you've given to the staff on trying to pursue the goals and missions of HOC. So I want to just thank you and acknowledge your service to the agency. And with that, I will open it up for any other questions that any other members of the commission have.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Simon.
I would like very much to add my admiration and respectful remarks. Stacy, you have created an agency, you have developed it with a succession plan in mind, in that each person has had an opportunity to grow in their job, to gain responsibility, more responsibility, develop new skills, and you have assembled what I would consider a remarkable diversity of staff that I have not observed in any other agency. And I commend that, and I'm sure I speak for others as well. Your accomplishments, based on the skills and knowledge you brought to this agency, took an agency that was satisfied, it was doing its job, but it wasn't growing. And you brought new life and new spark to it. And I think the energy and the leadership and the sacrifice and the abuse and the satisfactions, all of those things are just remarkable. And I am so grateful to have had an opportunity to work beside you and with you, and thank you. I know our residents, thank you. The people on the waiting list, thank you, because they know their chance is going to come, and we have grown, and thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Let me just echo the comments of my colleague commissioners. But also I want to say that in addition to considerably adding to the stock of HOC, another thing that has occurred during your tenure is the increased attention to resident services and the various things that we are doing with and for our residents. Financial literacy, the Fatherhood Initiative, and a number of things. So you can't just focus on the development process. Right. But the other thing I'd like to say, and while I agree wholeheartedly in terms of your contribution, I think your contribution has helped both the staff and the commission realize that it's only together that we can accomplish what we all set out to do in terms of serving the residents of Montgomery County who need housing assistance. It's a team effort. It's not any one person who does it all, but you shine the light and are leading the way. And I think that we all appreciate that. And I'm hopeful that we will have a chance to further express those feelings in the future. Thank you, Stacy.
I will just add, Stacy, unfortunately, my entire tenure year has been during the pandemic. And, so I regret that, we have not been able to work together sort of personally, or in person, I should say. But I take tremendous pride in having been able to work with you for this past year, and really appreciate, what I've seen and, the leadership during a time of crisis, during this pandemic, at a time when, I imagine many housing agencies are having to retrench, just to weather this storm. Under your leadership, HOC has really leaned into taking advantage and expanding opportunities for affordable housing throughout the county. And as Commissioner Nelson was saying, the primary focus on the residents, our customers at HOC, that it has been clear that you and the rest of the HOC staff have put their welfare first, and putting in place protections, putting in place programs for vaccinations, all of that. It is a testament to your leadership, the accomplishments of the HOC during this time, and the health of the organization. I, again, also hope we'll have additional opportunities for accolades, but, wish you much success and happiness in your next adventure. So.
Any other commissioner comments?
Mr. Chair, I would like to thank Stacy for accelerating my learning curve tremendously when I joined the commission 2.5 years ago and knew very little about public housing. And he started my first meeting by giving me the book, The Color of Law, and has fed my book and voracious reading habit ever since, most recently with the book on vouchers. And he clearly has shown that he is not only expert in this field, but also able to deal with the slings and arrows unflinchingly and always move forward in terms of working to serve the people of Montgomery County who need affordable housing, and looking through every program, every nook and every cranny to find more ways that HOC can address this need. And so I thank you, and I'm happy that we've had a couple of years overlapping, because I don't think I ever could have learned even 1/10 as much in the time period without someone who was pushing me to always expand my horizons as well. So thank you, Stacy, and best of luck in your next endeavor.
I just want to say, can y'all guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to say, Stacy, you're going to be missed, especially by me and by the other commissioners. You've done a lot for HOC. I came in after Mrs. Banks, and you were Commissioner Banks, and you were a very good friend to Mrs. Banks, and you are a very good friend to me. And you're going to be missed, but you did so much for HOC. I have to go along with my colleagues. They see it. You've done it. You outdid yourself on a lot. We're in the real estate business now. Our portfolio looks great. You're leaving us not on a sad note, but you're leaving us in a way that we can go further, because now we know we can go further. I'm going to miss you. They're going to miss you, but it's time for you to move on and do better, even better than you did with us. You have a great staff. They followed you. They did a lot of things that you told them to do. You were hard on them too, but they exceeded their expectations as well. So I want to say congratulations on your leaving, and you're going to be missed by all of us.
Hello, Stacy. This is Commissioner Byrd. I just want to echo everyone's sentiments and to say I certainly appreciate your leadership, your drive, your vision. I don't know how you do it, your energy, and also to publicly thank your family and kids, because I know what you give, that it does come at a cost to them. So thank you to the SPAN family. Thank you to the HOC staff for being the great followers and leaders to your servant leader. And so best wishes, Stacy. I will certainly miss you as well. Thank you.
Thank all the commissioners very much for your comments and remarks. And I'll close out this portion of the discussion for the executive director by saying, you know, all of us who are part of a family, you know, a family of mothers and fathers and sisters, extended families and whatnot. And the greatest legacy we leave behind are our children. You know, those who we hope will carry on the legacy and things that we have tried to give them in terms of guidance and advice and support. And I think the legacy that you leave behind, Stacy, is in fact your staff. And the staff that we have worked with has been one that we have the fullest confidence in. They'll be able to continue to carry on the work that has been started under your leadership. And that is in fact a testimony to the fact that you've been able to build a strong family of persons who have worked for HOC, and that's really important. And I would include in that a lot of residents whose lives have been shaped and impacted by the work that you have done, your leadership. We know that you can't touch the hands of every resident who we serve, but it's through the great work that we do and our developments and our programs that we in fact show them the care that we in fact assign to them as being just persons who lived in our properties and are in fact part of that family that I'm talking about. And also I just want to acknowledge the fact that you leave us in strong financial position, which an agency wants to be in, both from our operation and our capital funding. We have significantly grown under your leadership. So we want to acknowledge and thank you. And so that we don't become too soupy about this, I will in fact close out this portion of the agenda. Thank you for your work and for your leadership. And I will, the next item on the agenda was the commissioners exchange. I don't know that there's any other item to come before us as commissioners. I just would make a reminder to get everyone to make sure that you've given the information to Patrice Birdsong for your vacation times so that we can in fact put together a complete schedule of meetings as we pursue the course of action ahead of us to select a replacement for Stacy Spann. So again, thank you all. And if there's any other hot item the commissioner has that have not been covered, I will advance the agenda to the approval of minutes. I'm opening it for any other last comment. Seeing none, I will now move to the approval of minutes portion of the agenda. In minutes of June 9th, 2021, the approval of the minutes of June 9th closed session, of the June 18th special session, of the June 18th closed special session, and the July 2nd, 2021 special session. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Moved.
Commissioner Byrd, I second.
Been moved and seconded. Are there any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Opposed, none. Passed unanimously. Next item, we go into ratification of closed and special session action. The first ratification action taken for the open special session on June 18, 2021. And this was approved to explore opportunity to rebalance HOC's multifamily portfolio via disposition of select assets. Is there a resolution number 21-62R? Can I get a motion to approve resolution 21-62R?
So move.
Second.
And probably moved and seconded to approve resolution 21-62R. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. So ordered. The next item is resolution 21-63R, which is for the approval to explore change in ownership of Westwood Tower Apartments. Can I get a motion to approve this resolution?
Commissioner Byrd, so.
Go ahead.
It's been probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposers, nay. So ordered. The next ratification of resolution is resolution 21-64ASR, which is the approval to acquire real estate property located in Clarksburg, Maryland, via a ground lease. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved. Seconded.
It's been probably moved and seconded to approve resolution 21-64ASR. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So ordered. Next resolution is for approval ratification. Is resolution 21-65R, which is to pursue opportunity ownership of relatives to Westwood Towers Apartments. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Commissioner Byrd, I second.
Moved and seconded to approve resolution 21-65R. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Nay. So ordered. This completes the closed and special meeting ratifications section of the agenda. We now move to the consent. The first resolution for the consent agenda is the approval to amend and restate resolutions 21-57A, 21-57B, 21-58A, and 21-58B. This is a consent item. Is there a motion to approve resolution 21-67?
Commissioner Byrd, so moved. I second.
Been probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposers, nay. So ordered. Next consent item is resolution number 21-68. Is it no? It's 20. 21-68.
Page 55.
So moved.
This is a resolution on my schedule showed authorization for the executive director to temporarily delegate authority. Resolution 21-68.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Can I just ask a
question?
Yeah, I support this, but I'm just curious whether there was something that prompted this. Is this was there an issue about the delegation of authority?
No, they were not a question. What we were doing was just really trying to clean up the delegation of authority, especially the fact that now that we are getting ready to go through a process of having to appoint an acting director. We want to make sure it's clear about what the delegations of authorities are, assuming they're given to the executive director. That was all the purpose of this was.
Okay, no, I was guessing as much, but just wanted that clarification. Thank you.
Yeah. Are there other questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposers, nay. So ordered. The next consent resolution is 21-69. It's an approval of various actions related to HOC committees. What we're doing here in this action is in fact abolishing all committees of the commission and establishing 3 committees: Budget, Finance, and Audit Committee, the Development and Finance Committee, and the Administrative Regulatory Committee. And the document sets out the responsibilities of each of those three committees. So there are only three committees. And this is to clean up again. If you go back over time, there are numerous committees that have been appointed over time that were never, in fact, ever eliminated or removed. This action eliminates all committees and creates three committees through this action. Can I get a motion to approve Resolution 21-69?
I so move.
Second.
Been probably moved and seconded. Are there any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Nay. The next matter that closes out the consent items, we now go into our committee reports and recommendations. Our first committee will be the Development and Finance Committee, which is chaired by Commissioner Simon. Commissioner Simon.
We will be undertaking approval to select Boston Financial Investment Management as our tax credit syndicator for Georgian Court Apartments and authorizing the executive director to negotiate and execute a letter of intent outlining the terms of the partnership. Who's going to be?
So, good afternoon, commissioners. For the record, I'm Kareen Brown, Deputy Executive Director. And I'll kick this off by punting to Hansuk Choi, who will lead the discussion of this item. Please go ahead, Hansuk.
Thank you, Kareen. Good evening, Commissioner. For the record, my name is Hansuk Choi. I'm the Housing Acquisition Manager on Real Estate Development Team. Can you go to the page number 82, please? Thank you. So Georgian Court Apartment has a 147 unit and locating in Silver Spring, Maryland. Recently, the commission approved the selection of Hamel Builders as the general contract for the renovation of a Georgian Court Apartment. In May 2021, staff solicited the proposal from the 16 low-income housing tax credit investors to selected equity investors for Georgian Court Apartment. Staff received a full investors a letter of interest from the Boston Financial Investment Management, Enterprise and Community Investment, PNC Bank, and RBC Capital Market. Can you go to the next page? So here's the development plan for utilizing the low-income housing tax credit equity and the HOC issuing tax-exempt bond proceed to fund all construction costs and prepay the existing loan, creating the UFAS unit and upgrading existing playground, expecting closing end of this year. Next page. Here's a location of the Georgian Court Apartment. Georgian Court Apartment is basically locating between the Northback and Aspen Hill. There is a tall building and the leasing office and playground. So Georgian Court Apartment is locating in qualified census tract, which is qualified the 30 base boost under low-income housing tax credit program, which is generating additional LIHTC equity. Next page. So here's the 16 LIHTC investors list. We received the 4 syndicators LOIs from the Boston Financial Enterprise and PNC and the RBC Capital Market. Next page, please. Thank you. Left corner, you're actually able to see the qualified census tract able to get the additional 30 base boost. As you can see, eligible base construction base was a $19.6 million multiplied by 1.3, which is the additional 30 base to become a $24.5 million. A combined LIHTC equity is a 24.5 multiplied by 10 years, which is generating $25.6 million, and has to be multiplied by the investor's equity price. So Boston Financial give us a 96 cent, which is the creating that the $24.5 million. Enterprise was 91, PNC was 92, RBC was a 94.5, which is the second highest equity price. So Boston Financial give us the equity paying schedule, development fee schedule, most favorable capital adjuster, also longest time allows to exercise right first refusal for the purchasing option, and also most favorable guarantee provision So therefore, staff is requested the commission approve the selection of a Boston Financial Investment Management as of a tax credit syndicator for the Georgian Court Apartment, and authorize the executive director to negotiate and execute a letter of intent outline the term of the limited partnership agreement. I'm happy to answer your question.
The Development and Finance Committee recommends the approval to our colleagues. And if there are no further questions.
I move approval of resolution 21-70.
And I will second.
The chair's on mute.
It's been probably moved and seconded to approve resolution 21-70. Are there any questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Nay. So ordered. Next item.
The next item is a similar transaction related to Shady Grove Apartments and selection of a investment management firm and tax credit syndicator for the commission on this property. Karine, I trust your.
Hansuk Choi will discuss this item with you as well. Please go ahead, Hansuk.
Oh, thank you, Carrie. Again, for the record, my name is Hansuk Choi. I'm the Housing Acquisition Manager of Real Estate Development Team. Shady Grove has a 144 unit with 100% Section 8 program and locating in Deerwood, Maryland. Same thing, Commissioner recently approved selection of the Hamel Builders as a general contractor for the renovation of the Shady Grove apartment. Same time, we solicited the proposal from the 16 low-income housing tax credit investors to select the equity investors for the Shady Grove apartment. Staff received 3 investors letter of interest from the Boston Financial Investment Management and PNC Bank and RBC Capital Market. Next page, please. Here is that the similar development plan utilizing low-income housing tax credit and HOC issuing tax-exempt bond proceed to fund all construction costs and prepay the existing loan and creating the UFAS unit, creating the gym next to the community and leasing office, and then remove all asbestos contained material and installing the radar mitigation system and expecting closing end of this year. So, same as the Georgian court. Next page. Shady Grove apartment is a really good location next to the Shady Grove metro station, which is a nearby King Farm development or Hirsch West Side Shady Grove project recently under construction. Shady Grove is not the qualified census tract. Next page, please. Here's a list of the 16 investors. But receive only 3 LOI from the 3 investors. Next page. Here's how calculate that low-income housing tax credit. Since this is not the qualified census tract or DDA, development difficult area, so therefore we're not able to receive the additional boost. Boston Financial give us the highest pricing, 93 cents, which is generating the equity of $21.1 million. PNC was a second, 92.5, and RBC was the 88 cents. So Boston Financial give us the highest credit price and the fast payment of equity, and also fast payment of development fee. Most favorable time adjusters, guarantee provision, and the longest allows to exercise right first refusal and the purchase option. So staff is basically recommend to 1 investors for that the Georgian court and the Shady Grove project. Here is a benefit of 1 investors doing both transaction because able to savings the legal cost, and then also we are working on 1 legal documentation, a contract documentation. So then once we finalize that, basically they're using the same documentation for that others project. So there is a faster process. So therefore, that the staff request for the commission approve the selection of a Boston Financial Investment as a tax credit syndicator for the Shady Grove apartment, and authorize that the executive director to negotiate, execute the letter of interest, outline the terms of a limited partnership agreement. I'm happy to answer your question.
I
have some questions. I guess it's a little hard to discuss this in some ways without also discussing Willow Manor at the same time, because of the condition that I guess Boston Financial put, that they could invest in either Shady Grove or Willow Manor, but not both. And I understand, but so Boston Financial had the top pricing offer for both of those. So the differential is greater between the first and second place, or second tier pricing, with Willow Manor than it is with Shady Grove. I understand there's the issue of the income averaging, and I guess we'll get to that discussion. But since we're having to sort of determine, whether we would want Boston Financial to be the investor in this one or that one, again, it's hard to discuss without talking about both. If it weren't for the IA issue, would is the income averaging issue, or if it weren't for the fact that Boston Financial could only invest in one, would staff still recommend PNC for Willow Manor, or again, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm wondering, why, if you could talk a little bit more, I guess, about why Boston Financial for this one as opposed to for Willow Manor.
Sure, I'm happy to jump in, Karen, if that's appropriate.
I think it's, and if the commission is okay with this, I'd like to probably have Catherine discuss the Willow Manor properties, because we probably would not pick Boston Financial for Willow Manor anyway, because it creates some complications by doing so. There are benefits, however, in having Boston Financial on both these two transactions, because their efficiencies in terms of costs, transaction costs, as well as I believe HOC, they boosted the pricing on one of the two transactions a little bit from doing both of them together. But there are definitely some downsides to picking them for the Willow Manors. We would not have selected them under the circumstances that we're facing with income averaging. Anyway, so if the commission so wishes, we can discuss the particulars of the Willow Manor transaction, and then so put things in perspective a little bit better, and allows.
I appreciate the question, Commissioner, but I would prefer to take action on either they are presented to us. You raise the question so they can sort that out to you in the Willow Manor discussion. I don't want to tie approval one to the action that's recommended by the staff and reviewed by the committee for recommendation for action. If that's how I would like to proceed with this.
Okay.
I guess if we vote on the recommendation here, we have basically made the decision on Willow Manor as well. And so, because Boston Financial has said they can only do one or the other, and there's only one other bidder for Willow Manor, we've sort of tied our hands. I'm not opposing the recommendations. I think I understand them. I guess I just wanted to be able to have the conversation in the context, because we are making the decision on essentially on both of them if we make the decision here.
Mr. Chairman, might we defer and set this aside and proceed to Willow Manor Properties and make that decision and then come back to this one?
Yes, we could do that.
I think there's merit to Jeffrey's concern, and I'm just wondering if we can unlink them in that manner. If there's a clear decision on the Willow Manors or a precise reason for the staff recommendation on that, I think we ought to have the benefit of that knowledge before we force a commitment.
What I would do is rather than to do that, is Kevin, you were explaining the matter between the two things. So will you just go ahead and clarify that now? And so that in fact, I just don't like to be linking decisions around one action against another action. Okay. So go ahead and explain the matter if you can.
Sure. So Catherine Hollister, Senior Financial Analyst in the Real Estate Development Division, will provide the details on Willow Manor, which I think will clarify the recommendation on Willow Manor. Catherine, please go ahead.
Correct. So in summary, Boston Financial's proposal does offer the most advantageous combination of equity price and equity pay-in schedule. However, Boston Financial's LOI would not allow the transaction to utilize income averaging set aside as proposed without new or revised IRS guidance. As a result, all market rate units of the properties would be required to be restricted to 60% AMI rather than the 80% AMI as proposed, which would reduce net operating income, limit the range of affordability levels at the properties, and threaten displacement of existing residents who qualify 80% AMI but not 60% AMI. It's for those reasons combined, we think that the inability to use income averaging really offsets the equity price advantages of Boston Financial's proposal.
And recall that the commission had previously approved staff to proceed with income averaging. And given the timing for closing on the Willow Manor transaction in October, there is absolutely no time to pursue further IRS ruling, nor could we guarantee what the ruling might be if we were to continue down that path. And so we believe that the recommendation is the correct one for this transaction.
Okay. And your question can be answered, Commissioner Mekowitz?
Yeah, no, I think I understood that, and I got that impression from the briefing material. So thank you. I think that's the context. I just wanted to make that clear. And Commissioner Priest, I wasn't trying to link the two for our sake. It felt like they were being linked in the sense that by Boston Financial in their declaration that they would only do one or the other. So.
I appreciate the question. Can I get a motion for the approval of resolution 21-72? I mean, I'm sorry, 71. 71.
Commissioner Byrd, I move approval.
It's been probably moved and second to approve resolution 21-71. All those any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those nay.
Aye.
So ordered. Next
Thank you.
item. Let me go, Village.
And
Go ahead, Kareem.
For this item, we're seeking approval to select Tamil Enterprises, Inc. as a demolition contractor for Emerald Grove Village, and authorization for the executive director to negotiate and execute a contract for the demolition. And we're also seeking approval for the budget. Paul Vinciguerra, our construction manager in the real estate group, will discuss this item with the commission. And Paul, please go ahead if you're on.
Yes. Good afternoon, commissioners. Can we go to page 3? Thank you. On April 23rd, we issued an invitation for bid 2253 for the demolition of Emery Grove Village. We received 7 bids ranging from $488,000 to $1,181,450. Staff has determined that Tamil Enterprises was a responsive and responsible bidder at $488,000. So, bear with me a minute. The Emery Grove Village demolition will be funded from the Capital Improvement Program, CIP funds we received from Montgomery County government to demolish Ambassador Apartments and Emery Grove Apartments. Staff is including the removal of a small shed and garage, which was not part of the original IFB, which will add $4,800 to the final price, which brings the total for the demolition to $492,800. Staff would like to include a 15% contingency to be added to the demolition budget, which will make the total $565,700. There is $806,241.68 of available CIP funds for the demolition of Emery Grove Village. Staff is requesting commission to approve Tamil Enterprises as a demolition contractor and to approve the executive director to enter into contract negotiations and contract execution for Tamil Enterprises to demolish Emery Grove Village. I'll take any questions if you have any, please.
Ken?
I have some questions for clarification.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I noted that prior to my time, but that the commission had previously approved a bidder for demolition here, and I guess that bid had expired. Could you say what happened? Why did that never go through?
I don't know the exact reason. Karen or Marcus wants to answer that. But.
So while we were contemplating the demolition, we were trying to preserve these WSSC credits, which could be put toward the redevelopment of the site. And they had some value to the tune of, I'm just going by memory, I want to say $25,000 to $30,000, might be a little bit more than that. And so we were waiting. We needed to have gotten to a point where we had filed our redevelopment plan in order to preserve those credits. And so as we were going through our commission approval process for what we would do at the site, and waiting, the bids that we had gotten expired. And so, and we hadn't gotten to a point where we presented a plan that could have been approved by the commission, because we were working through our processes and thinking through what we might do for the Emery Grove site. And so that plan, that bid having expired, we had to start over. We have now presented a better plan to the commission that is under consideration. And so we're able to go back out and restart that process.
And how does this bid compare to the original winning bid? I mean, were we trying to, save a little money with these credits or something, and then did it end up costing us more, or?
I think this bid came in lower, Paul, if I'm remembering correctly.
It's a little bit higher than the original bid we got back in 2019. So
the savings were meaningful and was worth it. It might even have been more than the amount that I'm estimating. I can actually go back and look at the exact amount just to be clear and provide that to you. But they were significant enough to make it make sense for us to hold off on that. But I think overall, in the grand scheme of the redevelopment planning, it was worthwhile.
But Kyrene, you say it in terms of redevelopment planning, but this is all tied up in that entire development and the various steps that we've taken over the course of the last few months.
Yes.
And the potential of different actors involved in it. So it wasn't just a slow process. It was a very complicated one involving the
Right.
development across the street. with the church.
Absolutely. It was very complicated because at first when we were thinking of Emory Grove, it was just Emory Grove and
Right.
eventually Campo Square, and it has now become much, much more involved. And so it took much longer than we initially thought, and certainly was worth the wait. But it was worthwhile preserving the credits, and I think the savings might have been much more than that. I will definitely look it up and provide you with the correct information, because I'm trying to go by memory and I don't want to mislead the commission. But it was absolutely the right thing to do. And even though the bids were, as Paul said, a little bit higher, it was the right thing to do for the commission and worthwhile going through that exercise.
Correct.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, no, I would just want to make sure that we didn't, we weren't penny wise, pound foolish or anything. So, one other just quick clarification question. I noted that the MFD percentage was required to be at least 25%. I was curious what the winning bidders percentage was.
25%. They'll reach our minimum requirement through their subcontractors.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll hit 25%.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Can I get a motion to approve resolution 21-72?
So moved.
Second.
It's been probably moved and seconded that we approve resolution 21-72. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So ordered. Next item.
Thank you, commissioners.
The next item is the Willow Manors authorization to select PNC as the tax credit set syndicator, and to authorize the executive director to negotiate and execute a letter of intent outlining terms, etc. I trust it's Marcus that's going to be presenting this. Is that correct?
Actually, Catherine Hollister is going to present this this item, and it began to talk about it during our Shady Grove discussion. But Catherine, go ahead if you're ready.
Thanks,
Okay.
Marcus. Good afternoon, commissioners. For the record, my name is Catherine Hollister. I'm a senior financial analyst in the real estate division. Staff is requesting commissional approval on the following items related to the renovation and resyndication of the Willow Manor properties. The first is authorization to select PNC Bank as the tax credit syndicator for the transaction. The second is approval and ratification of the formation of ownership entities. And the third is approval of additional pre-development and prepaid closing costs. On page 116 of your brief book, you'll find an executive summary for the transaction. In 2018, HOC acquired 3 age-restricted senior properties. They are Willow Manor at Cloppers Mill, Willow Manor at Fair Hill Farm, and Willow Manor at Colesville. Together, these properties are referred to as the Willow Manor properties and consist of 286 units. The Willow Manor properties were built in 2004 and 2005 and have reached the end of their initial 15-year tax credit compliance periods. While the properties have been well maintained, they are in need of upgrades and improvements to increase operational performance and remain marketable. On April 1st, 2020, the Commission approved a pre-development plan and funding to pursue a scattered site LIHTC resyndication and renovation of the properties. On April 1st, 2021, the Commission approved a preliminary development plan, including the selection of Nastas Construction as the general contractor for the renovation. In April 2021, staff solicited proposals from 16 LIHTC syndicators and received 2 responses, one from PNC and the other from Boston Financial Investment Management. After reviewing the LOIs, staff recommends approval of PNC as the tax credit equity syndicator for the transaction. While Boston Financial's proposal offers the most advantageous equity terms, PNC proposal offers the greatest certainty of executing the desired transaction structure. Staff is also requesting approval and ratification of new ownership entities for the LIHTC transaction, as well as additional pre-development and prepaid closing funds. On page 119 of your brief book, you'll find a summary of staff's LIHTC syndicator solicitation for this transaction. On the right is the list of the LIHTC investors solicited, and highlighted in yellow are the firms that provided letters of interest. HOC has a working relationship with both PNC Bank and Boston Financial. On page 120 of your brief book, you'll find an evaluation of the syndicator proposal terms. As discussed during the Shady Grove item, Boston's Financial's proposal offers the most advantageous combination of equity price and equity paying schedule. However, the inability to use income averaging under the Boston Financial's LOI outweighs its equity terms and puts it as a disadvantage to PNC. Just to summarize again, Boston Financial's LOI would not allow the transaction to utilize income averaging set aside as proposed without new or revised IRS guidance. As a result, all market rate units of the properties would be required to be restricted to 60% AMI rather than the 80% AMI as proposed, which would reduce net operating income, limit the range of affordability levels at the properties, and threaten displacement of existing residents who qualify at 80% AMI but not at 60% AMI. PNC's proposal, on the other hand, offers the greatest certainty of executing the income averaging set aside as desired. Additionally, PNC's proposal also provides for a more advantageous developer fee schedule. As a result, staff recommends selecting PNC as a tax credit syndicator for the transaction and authorization for the executive director to negotiate and execute a letter of intent outlining the terms of a limited partnership agreement. Staff would return to the commission in September for approval and execution of the limited partnership agreement. On page 121 of your brief book is the proposed ownership structure for the resyndication of the properties. Staff is requesting authorization to ratify the formation of wholly owned special purpose entities to serve as the new property owner and managing member entities for the transaction. On page 122 summarizes the revised pre-development budget for the transaction.
Wow.
Could the IT department please mute whoever's on the phone?
On April 1st, 2020, the commission approved a pre-development budget and funding in the amount of $400,000. Staff is requesting $541,200 in pre-development funding and $920,000 in prepaid closing costs to be funded in the form of a loan from the FHA risk-sharing MIP cash reserve, which would be repaid at LIHTC closing. The pre-development funds would be drawn between July and October 2021 and will be outstanding for less than 4 months, whereas the prepaid closing costs would be drawn between September and October 2021 and will be outstanding for less than 60 days. As of March 31st, 2021, the FHA risk-sharing MIP cash reserve had an available balance of approximately $11 million. Page 123 of your brief book lists the summary and recommendations for this item. And on page 125 of your brief book is resolution 21-73. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Can we get a motion to approve resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any questions? Resolution 2173. Questions?
Can I just make a statement sort of related to the discussion that we had with Jeff? In senior properties, and I know this was the case a few years ago, I think it still is the case. There is a problem in the county in terms of people who are in the 60 to 80 AMI range in terms of being able to afford what we consider naturally occurring affordable units. And therefore, I think it is important that we have the ability to serve that niche of senior citizens, in addition to the lower income folks who will be served. So I think it's important to be able to go up to 80% in the senior population.
Other questions, discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. So ordered. Thank you. That ends the report for the Development Finance Committee. We will now move to the Legislative and Regulatory Committee. And we should properly, since we earlier changed our committee names, we should properly reflect that in the agenda. So it's not legislative, it's Administrative and Regulatory Committee.
Correct. Thank you so much, Chair Priest. The committee continues to deal with issues related to the pandemic and how that is being addressed, particularly by the U.S. Housing and Urban Development Department, which, as you all know, is the source of all of our voucher funds. And they have created a new kind of voucher that is specifically aimed at helping emergency situations that result during the period that we are addressing COVID. This particular group of vouchers has significant changes in some features of how vouchers are filled, and the timeframes and other things related to transportability, et cetera. And so we spent a lot of time going through this in the committee to understand it. It's going to take some real attention on the part of the staff to implement these new vouchers because of the many differences. We questioned whether we were up to it, and were assured absolutely, in spite of all of the differences, we are up to addressing these vouchers, which I'm very happy to hear, because they are, the program is really aimed at people who are facing sudden homelessness, or who are trying to leave abusive situations and don't have any additional place to turn. And so I'm very happy that I can report to you that the committee is confident that we can address the changes here, and recommends that we take staff's program plan and vote to implement it. But with that as an introduction, I would like to ask if there is anyone from staff who wants to provide more information to the commission.
Good afternoon. My name is Bonnie Hodge. I'm the Assistant Director of the Housing Resources Division. Lynn is out today. I believe Fred is also on the call, because Resident Services has a piece of this new 118 voucher that we've been given by HUD to assist customers. It's called the American Rescue Plan. It was signed into law on March 11th, 2021, in response to the ongoing impact of the COVID pandemic. We were recently awarded 118 vouchers based on HUD's assessment of the number of homeless persons in Montgomery County, and also HOC's operational capacity to quickly lease the emergency housing voucher families. And in order to qualify for one of the emergency housing vouchers, an individual or family must meet one of the 4 eligibility criteria. 1, homelessness, at risk of homelessness, fleeing or attempting to flee domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, stalking, or human trafficking, or someone who is recently homeless and for whom providing rental assistance will prevent the family's homelessness, or having high risk of housing instability. And now the interesting thing, a part of this, is that the eligible emergency housing families are not selected from our wait list. Rather, they are referred to HOC from the continuum of care, which is actually the local planning body who's responsible for coordinating full range of services, homeless services, for Montgomery County area. Actually, the Department of Health and Human Services, Montgomery County, is our county's designated COC. We may also accept direct referrals from victim service providers if the COC is unavailable to identify families that may be eligible for emergency housing vouchers because they're fleeing or attempting to flee domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, stalking, or human trafficking. We have to enter into an agreement, into a MOU with the COC or victims service providers by July 31st to establish a partnership for administration of the emergency housing vouchers. The COC or the VSP is responsible for verifying that the referred applicant meets one of the 4 eligibility categories that we discussed earlier. And to expedite and facilitate the emergency housing voucher leasing, HUD actually has modified the traditional voucher program requirements and established alternate requirements that apply only to the administration of this population in these vouchers. HOC must accept direct referrals from the COC or VSP. We have to maintain a separate wait list for EHV referrals at initial leasing and turnover. And the residency preference is waived. We must provide housing search assistance. We must provide services as outlined in our administrative plan and executed MOU. My friend will probably speak on some of those services. Income targeting requirements are not applicable. We can actually serve a variety of income levels, including low-income families at 80% of AMI. The initial voucher term must be 120 days. Typically, our initial voucher term is 90 days for the regular program. We also must add individual additional family members to the emergency housing composition other than birth or court-awarded custody of a child for families under a HAP contract. The initial lease term can be less than 12 months, regardless of whether the term is prevailing market practice. And also, the emergency housing voucher family may exercise their right to port immediately. So the 12-month stay period for our regular voucher program is waived for families who do not have legal domicile at the time of the emergency housing application. We also may not deny admission to the program for the following reasons. If a family member or member of the family has been evicted or terminated from federally assisted housing, the family owes rent or other amounts owed to the housing authority in connection with a Section 8 or public housing assistance, the family has not reimbursed the housing agency for amounts paid to an owner under a housing assistance payment contract for rent, the damages to the unit or other amounts owed by the family under the lease. The family has breached an agreement with the housing agency to pay amounts owed to the housing agency or amounts paid to the owner by a public housing agency. The family would otherwise be prohibited admission under alcohol abuse standards established by the PHA, and the PHA determines that any household member is currently engaged in or has engaged in drug-related criminal activity during a reasonable time before the admission. Additionally, we may elect to adopt some discretionary policies in the administration of the emergency housing program. We propose to adopt the first 6, meaning to establish permissive prohibitions of admissions for emergency housing applicants as outlined in our administrative plan. That we also use the emergency housing voucher to facilitate emergency transfers in accordance with the Violence Against Women's Act emergency transfer plan at HOC. Also, that we may pre-inspect available units to create a pool of eligible units that the emergency housing voucher family may be interested in leasing. That we waive the initial certification and accept income calculations and verifications from third-party providers or from an examination that HOC conducted for another subsidized housing program within the last 6 months if the family does not have a change of income. If we also can waive third-party income verifications and accept self-certification as the highest form of income verification at program admission. We elected not to propose the latter 3 discretionary policies to establish local preferences that take into consideration the comparative health risk that COVID-19 poses to a subgroup of families eligible for emergency housing vouchers, establish separate higher emergency housing voucher payment standards, and to apply an increased voucher payment standard at an interim exam instead of the next re-exam date subsequent to the increased rate. Are there any questions? Fred, are you on the call?
Yes, I'm on the call. I would just like to
talk about the the piece as it relates to
services,
the
yes.
services, the service piece, yes.
Yes, we'll be providing services to help them find and secure housing. Those include housing location services and financial assistance for application fees, security deposits, furniture, moving expenses, and essential housing items. So we'll be working with the COC as they refer clients over, and we'll be working to provide those services.
Do we get extra admin fees for this?
Yes, there's some really, really nice, we're gonna get an extra admin fee. We're also getting a different, depending on how quickly we can lease up the families, we're gonna get setup fees, which are gonna also allow us to pay for a housing locator, to pay for security deposits, moving expenses. So yeah, it's rich. It's going to help us help our customers.
Good.
Is there any possibility that persons who are hospitalized can become eligible for these vouchers? I'm thinking of people with severe disabilities that require no medical care, but are in institutions or hospitals at extraordinary public cost, as meeting the definition of homeless. A person living in a hospital room or half of a room, sharing a room, by all definitions I can conceive, is homeless. They have no personal possessions. They have no control over time or their lives, and are totally isolated from the community. And I'm wondering if there's any way that I keep hearing flirtings of persons so situated are homeless. And I think when we think about a home, we don't think about a room in a nursing home or a hospital. So I'm hoping that there might be some wiggle room in this program. There are 65 non-seniors at last count that are in those circumstances. They're separated from their families. They're totally isolated. I don't know whether the family reunification is a better way to try and go about it, but I'd appreciate it being explored if it's possible to do so.
Commissioner Simon, I would say to you that given the restrictive nature and limitations that have been imposed on these 116 or so vouchers, it'd be very difficult for the staff to go back and try to get HUD to re-engineer, and it would take HUD way past the time when you have to use these vouchers in order to get that. I understand what you're saying very clearly, but I just think for us right now, in terms of accepting these resources, we have very limited parameters that HUD has dictated in terms of the use of these funds. And so I think we would find it a little difficult to achieve what you are doing, especially in redefining the homeless to meet this test that you have.
Commissioner, I don't disagree with what you've said. I will add, though, that they are effectively enhancing the agency's voucher count, and these are emergency vouchers. There will be some level of turnover, and if it's on the same order as our typical voucher program, there'll be some level of turnover, and so it's certainly possible that we could do the research and then be better prepared at the initial turnovers to at least provide some opportunity for those persons should they be ready to move into a permanent housing opportunity. But you're right, it will take us a little bit of time to research it, understand it, and then figure out how the nuance works within the regulatory and lease up time frame of a voucher.
Well, I'd really appreciate the staff exploring that for future use. I think that there are a number of nonprofits that are willing and able to assist with other needs such as caregivers and so forth. And it's no life for a young adult to be living in a nursing home. It's just not a life.
Understood.
But
Yeah.
aren't you limited to getting referrals from the COC or the?
That's correct.
I mean, so
Yes.
we can't go out and.
I know that, but cannot those organizations apply through the Health and Human Services? If Health and Human Services could know that they could make referrals under this program, I think that those Health and Human Services is also worried about these institutionalized young adults. So
Well, they should
I
be
think
going to
staff
HUD.
can,
They should be going to HUD looking for a change in terms of definition, I think.
I think staff can look into this. I would add that based on our extended discussion about the parameters of this program, it is truly geared towards COVID. And in fact, there is a sunset to the intake period for this program. The vouchers will continue beyond the intake period, which was either 18 or 24 months. I forget which at this point. And they will become part of our permanent complement, but this program will only have life for intake into those vouchers for a limited period of time. But I think your point is well taken. If someone were at risk of homelessness because they had to leave a hospital, no longer in need of medical care, and had no other home, it might work for this program. And so let's challenge staff to look at that as an option. And my bigger fear is that with only 118 of them, these could disappear in, less than 30 days easily. So I really want to thank the staff for everything they did to figure out how to make this program work as different as it is from everything else that we're already doing.
Well, I'm so delighted that we are moving toward this program, and I think anything we can do to keep expanding it is desirable. So,
Bonnie, this is Commissioner Byrd. Can you just clarify one thing? What is the impact of these 100 and so vouchers to our existing wait list? I think I heard you say it's going to be 2 wait lists, but as far as the properties themselves, like, can you explain what the impact
It's
may be?
a separate wait list.
Correct.
All of the referrals come to us through the continuum of care. So it's a separate wait list. We've only received 118 vouchers, and they are to be used through either a continuum of care service provider or a service provider who may provide services for
so a separate service.
Sexual trafficking,
Thank you.
Domestic violence. So
I would also add that the COC has its own wait list and it's a coordinated entry system where they process and prioritize those for housing.
Okay, thank you.
Let me just jump in and say, one, I think this is a great opportunity. It's it's great that this law was passed to expand these emergency vouchers. And I'm very pleased that the staff will be able to implement the use of these vouchers for a very vulnerable population. As far as the definition of homelessness, that is a much bigger conversation and a very controversial one. There are a lot of different definitions across federal agencies over what counts as homelessness. And the biggest problem is really that the need far outstrips the supply of vouchers and resources to address. And so, with the vouchers, it has typically focused on those who have no shelter at all. So it doesn't usually include those who may be couch surfing and who we may think of as homeless. But
they have tended to focus on those with the greatest immediate needs. Just a couple of quick questions. I noted that one of the options that we're choosing, or that staff is recommending not to implement, is the higher payment standards to increase the pool of units. Do we feel that there's sufficient supply of units, availability of units at the regular pricing, or what was the rationale for not taking advantage of that option?
I think we felt that our payment standards, which are based on zip code, that we would not need that increase. Based on what we already have, what our payment standards are, and based on zip codes, we didn't feel the need to utilize that feature.
So meaning that there's a sufficient supply or availability of units
correct.
At the, okay. And then I think Fran started to address this, but I just wanted to clarify. I think it said that the vouchers cannot be renewed after September 30th, 2023. I assume if there is someone using that voucher at that time, they will be able to continue using that voucher.
Yes.
And it's just that we won't, once they leave or vacate, we won't get to replace them. Is that
we can renew
what's
it
happening there?
Yeah, we can renew it up to September of 2023, September 30th of 2023. So let's just say someone is a participant and they, decide that they don't want to participate in the program anymore. We can use that voucher up through September 30th of 2023.
Right. Okay. So nobody who's in a home using the voucher is going to lose that voucher.
Not at all. Not at all. The number of available vouchers will decrease if they're not all filled as of September 30th, 2023.
Got it. Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get a motion to approve resolution 21-74?
So moved.
It's been
I
probably
second.
moved
I second.
to approve resolution 21-74. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposers, nay. The next resolution we have, 21-75, is really dealing with our adjustment to our administrative plan. It's
Give me a
required.
minute.
That's required in order for us to be able to carry out what we just approved in resolution 21-74. So with that, let me say, okay, go ahead with the next item.
Yes, as you stated, this simply writes into our administrative plan the new processes, the new rules, and the permissions related to this. So if there are no questions, I will move that we approve motion 21-75 to incorporate the details of this program into our administrative plan.
I
Can I get a second?
I
It's been probably
second.
moved and second to approve resolution 21-75, which will be the revision of our administrative plan to, in effect, allow a framework for us to be able to carry forward implementation of the emergency program. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So ordered unanimously. Thank you all very much. I don't think there's any other items that come before for committee reports. There are no items required for deliberation and/or action.
The other people.
And we have now a new business. The new business that's before us. Can someone put that up on the screen, please? Thank you. This relates to the designating someone as the acting secretary, treasurer, and executive director following the end of the term of the current executive director, Stacy Spann. The commission is recommending that this person be designated to do this position as Xavier Brown, will be appointed by the approval of this resolution as HOC's acting secretary, treasurer, and executive director. in advancing this motion to the commission for discussion. And I had the opportunity to speak with Xavier Brown, and I have every level of confidence in her ability to take on the responsibilities that are inherent in the carrying out the roles of both that of Secretary Treasurer and Executive Director. And I certainly would recommend the approval of this resolution.
I second it.
It's been probably moved and seconded. Are there any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Nay. So ordered. Being that there's no other
I
business,
took it off.
official business to come before the commission, I now adjourn the regular meeting of the Board of Directors of the Commission for HOC. And we will now go into convene meetings for the development corporations. Each development corporation held its annual meeting on June the 9th, 2021, and the meetings convened today are for the purpose of approving those minutes. So we're going to button up our seatbelts and get ready to go through the approval of these minutes. I now call the meeting of the Alexander Housing Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Commissioner Byrd, so moved. Second.
Seconded. It's been probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Barclay Apartments Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So
So
moved.
moved.
So move.
Probably moving second to approve the minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Brookside Glen Apartment Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Commissioner Byrd, I second.
Been probably moving second to approve the minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Diamond Square Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
I second.
All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Glenmont Crossing Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Probably moving
Second.
seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Glenmont Westerly Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So
So
moved.
move.
Been probably moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Magruder Discovery Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Aye.
So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Metropolitan Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Been probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Montgomery Arms Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Seconded.
Favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed
Aye.
say nay. Motion carried. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Paddington Square Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
So, second.
Been probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Poops Hill Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Been probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the VAD 6 Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
I second.
Been probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call to order the meeting of the Scattered Site 1 Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So
So
moved.
moved.
It's been probably moved and seconded to approve the, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Scattered Site 2 Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed,
Aye.
nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Sligo Hills Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So move.
Second.
Been probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Vision. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the TPM Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Probably moved and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the VPC1 Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
I second.
Been probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the VPC2 Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
It's been probably moved and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
With no further business to come before the corporation, this meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Wheaton Metro Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
It's been probably moved and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed,
Aye.
nay. So ordered. With no further business to come before the corporation, the meeting is adjourned. I now call the meeting of the Oaks at Four Corners Development Corporation to order. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So move.
Second.
Second.
Been probably moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay. So
Aye.
ordered. No further business to come before the corporation. This meeting is adjourned. This concludes the Development Corporation meetings. With no further business to come before us, this meeting is now officially adjourned. I will also say that we are going to look at adopting another process for approving of all these minutes going forward in the future, and that will be advanced to you all as we move in that direction. But thank you all very much, and have a great evening.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.